This is a smoke break with Spaceman Jones. Proudly sponsored by Earthy Now and Urban Combat Wrestling.
All right, everybody, man. Want to invite everybody in and tell everybody thank you for joining us. This is Spaceman Jones with a smoke break. And this morning, man, we are with the Seafood, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a great teacher of all different types of things, man. This is ID the Monk. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good.
Happy to be on here. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, man. And this guy, man, this guy's a real dynamo, man. He's a martial arts teacher and also a pretty good musician in his own right, getting out there. You just dropped the album, right?
It's my fourth album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually set to drop. Yeah, it's on the August 29th is when it comes out.
All right, man. Still got a couple of days for the drop this weekend, Saturday, actually.
That's right.
And what we like to do on the smoke break is when we first start out, we like to take a few moments to have 10 breaths of mindfulness just to kind of bring the right type of spirit, you know what I'm saying, into the conversation. Yeah, man. And so we'll start, and I'll just count the breaths off as they come naturally. And we'll just have a little bit of mindfulness time before we get into our conversation.
Thank you.
All right. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Seven. Eight. Nine. And 10. All right. Thank you for everybody who joined in on those little moment of mindfulness. And always, man, when I see you out, man, you always have this great smile. You know, I think that you've cultivated some happiness in your life. Would you like to talk about some of the things that you use to kind of keep that joyfulness and happiness at the forefront of your personality?
Well, if we're going to get down to it, the number one thing would be always remembering Krishna and never forgetting him. I refer to the Supreme Person, the origin and the cause of all causes as Krishna. Of course, he has unlimited names, many, many names. So that's the number one key to bliss is remembering Krishna all the time.
Okay, for some folks who may not know about Krishna, Krishna is a major big time deity for a lot of the Hindu religion around the world. Major big time guy. I think that Krishna was a character in this book I read one time, man. It was a fight between two families, you know what I'm saying? And Krishna was with this dude named Arjuna on the chariot, and he was kind of like telling them, hey man, these guys, you know, all of these people that you kind of love, these things that you love are in the way of you getting where you need to go, you know what I'm saying? And so that was something that I took away personally from the story of Krishna and all the, you know, so that's kind of cool that
You read it, yeah, Bhagavad Gita, and
Bhagavad Gita.
it's there in Mahabharata, which is the
Yeah,
larger work.
yeah, Mahabharata. That actually, I read the Mahabharata, it was the whole story. You know, the
Yeah,
Pandavas, it's the five brothers, and you got Shuri in there, and it's and then I read another book about these two guys, Rama and It was Rama and Lakshmana, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, and they
You
was
read
fighting this demon. They was fighting,
Ramayan. You read the Ramayan, and they were
yeah,
fighting Ravana.
yeah,
Yeah,
they was fighting. Yeah, he was on the island, man, and he had the girl, and
yeah.
they went through
Sita.
what? Yeah, they went through a lot to get her back. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
right. So you know about Hanuman.
yeah, man, Hanuman, man. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Hanuman is
yeah.
majorly strong. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the monkey guy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so that being the philosophy that you have in life, and also coupled with your martial arts background, there's a lot of people who are kind of on the path of righteousness who kind of shy away from warrior ethics or from anything that has anything to do with any semblance of violence. I am not one of those people. I understand the path. In my understanding, the path, sometimes you got to protect yourself and protect other people, um, which is kind of where we at right now in the world, you know. So from you being a warrior and you being a teacher and you also being a monk, let where does the place for the warrior in today's society?
Well, when we talk about nonviolence from the Vedic or Sanskrit perspective, we use the term ahimsa.
So,
You
yeah,
might have heard the term ahimsa, yeah.
yeah,
So ahimsa really means to not do harm. Himsa means doing hurt or doing harm. So ahimsa means protection from harm. So it's nonviolent to take action against some sort of aggression or violence when you are faced with a violent situation and you have an opportunity to act out and to put a stop to that. It's actually non-violent to not take action, or it's actually violent to
violent.
not take action in that case.
Okay, and there's a lot of there's a lot of violence, you know, in today's world, especially living in America, um, where growing up as a youth, violence was the number one way to solve problems. It was seen from the cartoons from Tom and Jerry and G.I. Joe, He-Man, of course, the professional wrestling that I grew up and I still love, all of the movies, all of the television shows, and then what I saw outside my window. Um, Violence was a way to solve problems. It was a coping mechanism in my neighborhood. If you didn't like something that somebody said, you just punched them in the mouth, and then maybe they didn't say that again. As I'm getting older, I'm seeing that the error in those ways. I'm just wondering, like, where do you see, um, where do you see things going in the society?
Well, I don't see things becoming less violent. It's not the nature of the age that we live in.
Yeah,
We live in a violent age of quarrel and hypocrisy, and it's kind of like when you're in the month of November and you see it's a little chilly outside, you just accept it and you know that it's going to get colder. So that's how I feel about things. It's going to get colder because we're coming into the winter.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think that you kind of alluding to like the philosophy of the yugas or the eras. You
Correct.
saying that we at the end of something right now. We in the Kali Yuga right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of blood and but I heard there's this great monk that practices with Thich Nhat Hanh. I forget her name. It's right here in my head. Pima Chodron.
Right.
And Pima Children told a story one time that she was with the older monk, and they was getting off of the plane, and a guy tried to take their bags, and the older monk took his stick and just beat the hell out of the guy over the top of the head. And she was like, "Hold on, what are you doing? We're supposed to be nonviolent." He's like, "Well, I'm protecting my stuff with all the loving kindness in my heart. You know what I'm saying? This is this." So that story kind of struck me of somebody who kind of understands on a deep experiential level, you know, what it means, but still able to protect and move about the day in ways that's gonna keep them alive. At the end of the day, I think that's very important to stay alive.
It's a sacred duty, taking care of what's been allotted to you to take care of, and then also standing up to assist the weak, rising up to assist those that cannot help themselves.
True that. True that. And I know a lot of times in this society, the way that we are taught to kind of deal with those issues is a little bit counterintuitive to me. So we build all of this stuff. We go to work. We get our houses all together. And we got stuff to protect. Um, but at the same time, we are also meant to kind of rely on the police and the military and all of these different uh, entities to keep us safe, pretty much. They take care of us, they keep us safe, they handle all of the bad people. But if the people who are supposed to keep us safe are doing harm, then, you know, we definitely have a major problem, like a big, big, big problem. If the people who are supposed to keep me safe or
Right.
I protect myself from them,
Yep.
you know, um,
Yep.
then like I'm very frustrated with the way that things have been. It's a daily frustration. Uh, and I'm just wondering, like, what advice you have for people who are feeling like me, who are, you know, mightily frustrated, and we can't take up arms and go out into the streets, not at this time, to stop it. What are some advice that you have for people who are desperately feeling like out of place, and vulnerable and scared.
Well, first off, yeah, I can only speak for myself, really, but I don't look to them for protection. I don't consider them to be on my side, our side. I don't consider them to be a protecting force. They're not the source of my freedom. They're not the protector of my freedom. My freedom is an inherent right as part of my being. It's there within. We are free. They're the ones imposing restrictions upon me. They're the ones, so I don't look for them for protection. Again, I'm only just saying where I'm coming from.
Hmm.
Um, I don't call them. I don't want them here. So I can't help stop myself from getting pulled over. I can't stop myself from interacting with the government, paying my taxes, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not my flag.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure, man. Because I come from there's a lot of people, man, who I come from a side of town or a neighborhood or well, we didn't trust the cops. They always came in and took people out. They never did nothing good in my neighborhood, not one time. You know what I'm saying? That they do anything good. And if they did do something that seemed kind of good, they had an ulterior motive. So
Yeah.
we don't call them. We don't call them. We handle our own situations and we try to walk with dignity, respect. First and foremost, respect for myself and respect for everybody else. I've been in some of the most dangerous places um, that a man could be in, and the respect is something that always protected me when I walk with a sense of respect for everybody that's around me, and I'm respecting myself. Usually,
Mm.
I come across those situations where I'm in harm's way, you know. So I think that to kind of get to the place where we need to be, to where we can take care of ourselves, we got to kind of walk with a certain type of respect for ourselves, for the people that's around us, and then you don't get the problems that we have. I think that we got a big problem with just people not respecting the boundaries in the lives of other people and they stuff, and the fact that they have to make a living. We see it every day on the news how a lot of folks are disrespected in this country, and just pretty much said like, look, you got to take it because you here. Speaking about immigrants and black folks and LGBT people, all the people who are kind of on the bottom, is basically saying y'all are here for certain purpose to serve us, and we're gonna treat you how we want to treat you. It's been going on for all this time, and we're not giving it up. So we got to get smarter to it and start like respecting ourselves first and foremost. And then a lot of those problems will go away on their own, because when you respecting yourself, ain't nobody gonna step on you. They might try it.
Yeah, that's right. That's where it starts.
Yeah, they might try it. But when you really respect yourself, ain't nobody gonna do you any type of way. Ain't nobody gonna, they know that it's that there's gonna be consequences and liabilities, but we still walking in peace. And I think that you can do both simultaneously.
There are these different levels of consciousness. You can consider yourself a member of your particular family, a member of your particular nation. You can identify yourself as a citizen of the world. Ultimately, as you know, we're not even the body. We're just we are the soul, and we happen to be acting through a particular body at this time. But I mean, because we're talking about this topic of how do we deal with living in the society that we live in under its strictures. Well, I think an important first step is to acknowledge yourself as a citizen of the world, as a human being. Ultimately, we're beyond that, but we have to see that too, that there's not so much to fear from the people around us in the world. I think it's important to travel, for those that have an opportunity to get out and see different countries and to understand, to see for themselves what they think freedom is, because I have a different concept of freedom from what a lot of people that talk about freedom in this country seem to have. I don't consider this to be the freest country that I've ever lived in, and I knew that when I was a little kid. I knew there was something wrong with this country, and I wanted to experience a freedom that this country didn't seem to be offering me, and I found that.
True. I get kind of that same feeling too. There's a lot of propaganda in the United States about this being a land of opportunity, about not being able to do the things like this is the place you come and you can make all your dreams come true, blah blah blah. You get a lot of that, so that's what a lot of people take in as fact. A lot of people take that in as fact, and it's not necessarily so. At least not the way I've experienced it. There are opportunities here, you know what I'm saying? But what you got to do, like for me, what I have to do for my opportunities is I have to be way better, way smarter, way on top of my game, more ruthless, more able. I have to be perfect, to get the same opportunities that some other folks may get. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is in this life. Can't really do much about it, but I understand what you're saying. We are not free in this country. We free to work our asses off and pay them. That's what we're free to do. We free to work, and stay in debt. But as far as the illusion, I think, is being taken off of the eyes of a lot of people around the world about this country and about what it's really about. This is a big hustle. This country is a big hustle. It's a big.
How I've always seen it. It's like a house is only as strong as its foundation. It's only as trustworthy as its foundation. The foundation of this country that we're talking about is, as we know, slavery, genocide. The so-called founding fathers, the framers of the Constitution themselves, were slave owners and abusers. Saying we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, while at the same time holding out their fellow human beings in the bonds of slavery and abusing them. That's the foundation.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. You can't grow from a bad seed, you know.
Word.
Can't grow from a bad seed. But we do have an opportunity, I believe, right now in this current time, we got an opportunity to kind of go another route, pick another direction.
Mm-hmm.
At least on the individual level. Now, I don't know about like as human beings on the whole. I don't think there's much that we can do about the direction that the planet or whatever, time is taking us. But I know as individuals, we can definitely choose to be a little bit more awake, to be a little bit more kind, to be a little bit more insightful, to be a little bit more precise, and for the individual, we can definitely change our perceptions. I know that right now it's been very difficult for me, um, in particular, because I feel like there's action that needs to be taken, and not knowing what is the right action, not knowing what is the correct action. Uh, and sometimes, in life, there's been these moments where you may seem pretty lost. I know for me where it's like nowhere, no direction, nothing coming in to help me to figure out my way. And I know that in those times, I'm kind of like deep in whatever place we go to make those changes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when those changes are being made, you're kind of blind to everything else, because you're like deep in the cocoon or deep in the ground, and at those stages, you can't see. You're blind. You can't hear. You can't really do nothing. And like living and active in the world, I feel like that could give me, myself, a little bit of cognitive dissonance or a little bit of being uncomfortable because of the state that I'm in, that I'll be blind to in my consciousness. Because I feel like what's underneath is always growing, it's always evolving, it's always changing.
Another side to that is if we look at prayer, meditation, crying out to God, putting ourselves in the shelter of the Lord, if we see those as priorities in life, things that we're striving for in life, then the perils of the material world are actually to our advantage. They work well. In other words, if we're in darkness and we're times of suffering, then we tend to take shelter and go inside, internalize, and take to prayer. Not speaking of a particular religion or a particular path. I'm talking about the ability of us in the human form of life to go within, to look inward, introspection.
Yeah, man, that's definitely been a saving grace of my life, being able to go inside. I tell people all the time, because I'm admittedly confused about religion. I've studied a whole lot of it and got a lot of information about it, but everything is tailored for each person. You know what I'm saying? And so the way I explain it, how I can keep some semblance of spirituality while being a completely non-religious person is that on the inside, I feel like deep down inside, it's like a never-ending river of bliss, and that's what you really are.
Yes.
It's like this, that's what you really are. And you can tap into that through meditation. And if you meditate enough, it can be, it used to take sit for, I had to sit 3 or 4 times a day. And then maybe at the end of that last, and I get to it. But now, after practicing, I can get down that 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I can get down to that bliss or whatever it is. It's a big, wide open space that's like right here in the center of your being.
Yeah.
It's not a physical thing, but it take a little bit of kind of letting the monkey mind and the bullshit kind of die down. And then you can get down in there. And I think that's the baptism waters that they're talking about, because it's a never
ending. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
And you can get down in there and you can kind of dip down and kind of wash yourself off, but you can't stay there. You can't do anything there. You know what I'm saying?
So, like you said, you can contact that immediately, which is a beautiful thing. Once you find it.
Through practice, though. You have to practice.
Yes, that's right.
And so getting down in there into that is like a rejuvenation thing. When you get down in there and you can kind of take a breath and then look at what's really going on from the perspective of where you really are at. Then you can say, okay, well, these issues are kind of not as crazy, especially if you're going through a process where you're asking yourself a few questions while you're in that space. Like, is this really what I'm believing in? Is this really true? Is there anything in the world that could contradict what I'm saying? Because the truth can't be contradicted. Let's put it like that. If it's really true, it can't be contradicted. You won't have somebody saying, well, on the other hand, it could be like this. Nah, it's true. It's true, it's true, it's true. So if you have beliefs that you are kind of waffling about, that you don't know if there's another side to it that could kind of oppose it, then maybe your belief is just a belief. It ain't really true. And it's not nothing to get all hung up about. You know what I'm saying? Let's let it go and move on to the next thing. And you can kind of let it go from that place. That's the magic of that space of what we are really. You can kind of let go. Nothing sticks to what we really are because it's one thing. Can you understand? You see what I'm saying? Like when something is one thing, is singular, it's a unity, then it has no extra parts. It's not a heap. It's not like consciousness and touch and taste and memory, all of these things that kind of conspire together to make things feel like they're like one whole thing, but it's really not. It's just a bunch of pieces. But that place that I'm talking about, when you get down in there, that's one thing. You can't hang anything on it. You can't take anything away from it, but it's always there and it's always the same. It's accessible. You see what I'm saying? But you're not going to take a little piece with you. You know what I'm saying? You can't take a little piece with you, and you can't leave nothing there. It's one of those things. You know what I'm saying? But you can get down in there, and you can kind of see things from that perspective. And for me, it's kind of rejuvenation to the spirit.
For me, the most important thing, you nailed it when you said that, we are the bliss, we are the happiness. So whenever there's an interruption in that bliss and that happiness, we know that there's something wrong, something covering us up that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the term Satchitananda? Have you heard that Sanskrit term?
I think so.
So what that actually refers to the what the soul is comprised of, what we are made up of eternally, Satchit Ananda. So you mentioned the Ananda part, that's the bliss, that's the happiness. Chit is knowledge or the awareness, and Sat is the eternality. So we are actually made of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, according to the Vedas. That's what we are. We're consciousness, we are the soul, but we are eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So if we're feeling a lack of eternality, if we're feeling like we are going to perish, we're going to die, or that we're incomplete or not whole, or if we're feeling that we're in ignorance or darkness, or if we're feeling that we're unhappy, that just means that we're covered up and we need to get clean.
It's a reductive. I've always heard all of the thing in my mind, like with meditation, is that it's not you add things onto your personality to make you better. Is that you actually pull everything away that is not.
Yeah, right.
You see what I'm saying? You pull it. It's a subtractive thing, not an additive thing. It's a subtractive.
That's it.
And in seeing that and in knowing that for myself and knowing that that's true, the daily practice, the kung fu, if you will, is sitting my butt down on the cushion and sitting. And not only that, but kind of taking into consideration the parts of my life and tending to each of them, you know what I'm saying, in its own time. You got to eat, you got to take care of your body, you got to clean your space, you got to, earn some money to get some food, you got to take care of your family, whatnot, and then you got to spend some time with that inner part, which to me, that's God. It's not something way out there. I'm made of God. That's what that river of bliss is. It's eternal. It's all knowing. It's joyful. That's God to me. You know what I'm saying? You just said it. What it said, Satchit Ananda.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's God right there. You know what I'm saying? In a nutshell, in any book that you read, whether Quran, whether it be the Bible, whether it be the Vedas, whether it be whatever, whether it
Yeah.
be the paintings that they put on caves. We've been knowing this from the beginning because we know where we came from, you know?
Oh yeah. God is in everything, in every atom, in every cell in our body, yet he's also specifically within our heart.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the Muslims have a phrase that says that Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein.
Yes.
You know,
Sure.
yeah, yeah, you know,
Sure.
yeah. And I always thought that that was like a very visceral statement. You know,
Yeah.
I try not to invest myself into the personality worship of God. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that leads me way astray. So I got to
Uh-huh.
remember in my mind that it's not like a dude with the hand, and you know, I can't take it that far. It's something that I really can't understand. So I just try to engage with it through meditation, um, and through whatever bliss that I can feel. Uh, Man, this has been a great conversation, man.
For sure.
And I wanna do a part two. We running out of time right now, but I know that you got some stuff that you're pitching. You already talked about the album that's coming out. So if you want to give some people some information about that so they can tap in, and I want to bring you back on. We got to do a part two to this, man. This was a great conversation.
Sure thing, sure thing. Yeah, so you can find out all about me and my music at adithemonk.com or Instagram Adi the Monk, Facebook Adi the Monk. That's it. And I got a new group called Himalaya Soul Trio. Our first show is going to be August 29th, Saturday at Isis Music Hall.
Awesome. ISIS is in West Asher, man, right there on Hayward Road. So if y'all are around in town, y'all make sure to come and check the brother Adi the Monk out. And thanks once again, Adi the Monk, for coming out. And thanks also to my sponsor, Earthy Now, who always have the great natural hemp products. And you can find them at earthynow.com, and our other sponsor, Urban Combat Wrestling. Congratulations, guys, on getting your LLC together. And we'll see you guys next week. Man, it's Spaceman
All
Jones.
right.
Smoke break. Peace.
This has been a smoke break with Spaceman Jones, sponsored by Earthy Now and Urban Combat Wrestling. See you next week.